Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is Professor Diaz, and today I want to work on Lab 5 with you. So Lab 5 is importing the math, pi, and pow functions. This is going to be using what we did in the lecture in the last video. So the goal of this lab is to use those functions and to get a feel for them. You want to create a command line program that calculates the surface area and volume of a sphere given that the user provides the radius. So that's going to be that float input, and then we put some text in there. And then we have a couple examples in the figures. And then we have our software requirements. So these are the variables that we need to use: radius, surface area, and volume. And then we also need to only display one number after the decimal point for both of our answers, for both of our calculations of the sphere. So, not too bad. I think we can do this. Let's start by importing the math library. So import math. We'll use a little comment here. Import math. So now we have access to the math library. So the first thing we need to do is to get the user input. So we start with radius. We're going to get the radius first, and we're going to ask the user to enter the radius of a sphere. And we want this input to then be converted into a float, which is why we're using the float on the outer side. All right. So the calculation for surface area can be found online. So surface area is 4 pi r squared. So we'll go ahead and program that in. Not too rough for us. So surface area equals 4.0, and I'm using floats, I'm using decimals, and I'm also spacing math.pi. I'm also spacing my my code properly instead of having things be mushed up together, because that makes it a little harder to read. And the goal of having code, especially with comments like that, is that you can read it and work with it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use the POW function. So it should be radius squared. Oops. Radius 2.0. And that should give us our surface area. So we'll double check. Okay. We'll double check that we get everything right. So surface area, radius, then we need volume, and then 4 pi r squared, 4 pi r squared. Okay, looks good. So for volume, what is the volume of a sphere? That's going to be 4 over 3 times pi times r cubed. So we could program that in too. So we'll start by declaring our variable volume. We'll set it equal to 4.0 divided by 3.0, and then times math dot pi times math. I don't know why I keep messing that up. Dot POW, and it's the radius cubed. All right. Okay. So it looks like we have the formula for our surface area, the formula for our volume, and we can calculate our answers. We have all 3 variables that were required: radius, surface area, and volume. And now we'll get to our outputs. So first, let's go ahead and print a divider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just to make the code look clean, the output look clean. So we're going to print surface area. And then recall we use the concatenation operator to glue two strings together. And according to the project requirements, we need to only display one number after the decimal point for both of these outputs. So to do that, we need to use what we learned last week. So we start with quotation marks, curly braces, colon, comma, dot, 1F. And this is a formatting, so we're going to put, oh, hang on a tick. Cannot forget the other curly bracket. Okay, so we're going to say dot format, and this is going to be surface area. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. And then let me actually look at what they put. So 3.25. And let's run it. 132.7. That's correct. Now let's go ahead and get the output for the volume. Let's do this. It's just similarly volume colon space plus colon comma dot 1F curly brace dot format. And the thing we want to format this time is the volume. So let's go ahead and run this again. We're going to do 3.25. And 43.8. Looks like we got the correct answer, so we passed the sanity check. The thing that's not passing the sanity check here is this 3 in front of the enter the radius of a sphere. I'm going to have to get rid of, I must have accidentally put a 3 somewhere. Enter the radius of a sphere. That's a little wonky. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful day.